Hello and good day. So it is the tense that we are going to do today. By tense, we understand a form of verb that indicates time. That is, it is the correspondence between a form of verb and our concept of time. As you know, time is divided into past, present, and future. Tenses they indicate what time they indicate various times, present time, past time, or future time. We'll be looking at simple present, simple past, and simple future. We'll be talking about progressive forms of all the three types. We'll be talking about the perfect forms of all the three types, and we'll be talking about the perfect progressive forms of all the three types. That is a simple, present, past, and future. So starting with the simple present tense. For simple present tense, the form of the we'll be looking at also the forms of verbs, the structures that indicate the various types of tenses, whether it is simple present, whether it is progressive, whether it is perfect or perfect progressive, for any of the four categories. So first we'll be giving the structure, then we'll be giving the uses of all these tenses. So we start with simple present tense. For simple present tense, we use the base form of the verb, the form that is listed in the dictionary, that the base form of the verb is used for to indicate the simple present. And the S form is used for third person singular. Uh, and the uses of present simple are that it is used for to express something which is true at the time of speaking. For instance, Jane likes John. This is a example of simple present. We can also use simple present for some for to indicate things, to talk about things that are timeless or universal truths. For instance, water boils at 100 degrees centigrade, or sun rises in the east and sets in the west. These are timeless expressions, universal truths. So we can use simple present to talk about them. We can also use simple present to talk about habitual action. That is, I come here every week. This is one of the sentences. Or anything which happens repeatedly or as a habit. We can use simple present to talk about that. As you can see in this picture, to refer to the second, the C part, to refer to habitual action in an action, in a or an action that is repeated regularly. John always sings in the morning. So this is a habit of that John has. He always sings in the morning. So we used the present simple form. You can see that there is a S form attached to this verb sings, because we are talking about John. So we have to use the S form. John always sings in the morning. That is, he has a habit. Or the other sentence that I just told you, I come here every week. So this also we use simple present to talk about an action that happens as a habit, or repeatedly or frequently. Then it is also used to describe running commentaries. Simple present is used to describe action that is taking place right in front of the eyes. For instance, Ali passes that ball to John, who kicks, and it's a goal. So this running commentary, we use a simple present tense to describe this running commentary. Also, there are other uses of simple present. That is, it indicates time. It indicates something which has already happened, or it also indicates something which is about to happen. That is the future. Something which is about to happen in future. We can use simple present tense for that. As you can see in this picture, a simple present can also be used to indicate future events which are part of a fixed timetable schedule. Example is, we leave for Kuala Lumpur at 6 p.m. on Sunday. So this is something which will happen in future, but which is part of a fixed timetable which has been planned. We can use a simple present for that. Another example which we quite often see in newspapers is the Prime Minister leaves for Russia tomorrow. So we put a time adverbial which indicates a time in future, but the tense that we use is present. So simple present is used to refer to something which has already been planned, which is a part of a fixed timetable or schedule. So we use simple present for that. And simple present is also used to describe what we call the uh, historic something which is historic present. It is also used to describe an action that has taken place in the past, but we use the simple present to describe that. As you can see in this picture, the example, there he comes from the corner with a gun in each hand, and he points them at me. I have no fear. I stand still and stare at him. So all the verbs, all the forms of the verb are simple present. This thing has already taken place in the past, but in order to make it more dramatic, the use of simple present is there. So this is what we call a historic present. Or we can also use simple present in the newspaper headlines. For instance, a mass murderer escapes. Already, the murderer has already escaped, but the time is past. But the tense we use is present for newspaper headlines. Now talking about simple past, so for simple past, we use the ed form of the verb, that is walked, d form, d or ed form. These are used for simple past for regular verbs. But as far as irregular verbs are concerned, irregular verbs are formed by the change in their vowel form. For instance, you see the base form on the left side, the irregular under the irregular verbs category. Bite, and the past form is bit. And on the top are the regular verbs, that is worked hard, washed, and finished. They are all regular verbs. Whereas the irregular verbs, the past is formed by bit, bought, put, ate, uh, and like all the irregular verbs, they have various other forms. For instance, put has put in all the three categories. Put. The base form is put. The past tense as well as the past participle is put. For swim, it is swam. So this is a simple past, that the form of the verb that is used is different for regular verb and different for the irregular ones. Now, the uses of simple past tense. A simple past is used for things that have already happened in the past, which have been completed at a point of time. This simple past is also known as past definite. He completed his laboratory experiment yesterday. John built this house in 1947. All these things, they happen in the past at a specific point of time. So use simple past is used for that. Simple past is also used for some action that happened over an extended period of time in the past. As you can see in the B section, he carried out his experiment for 5 years. That is something which happened in the past for 5 years over an extended period of time. All last year they traveled around the world. So something which happened over a period of time, which is now past and which is complete. This is what we mean by this simple past over an extended period of time. Or simple past can also be used to refer to a past habit. For instance, the Smiths never drank tea. She always carried an umbrella. So these are the past habits that for which we can use simple past. Now talking about simple future. Now, as you can see in this picture, the form of the verb that is used for a simple future is shall oblique will plus the base form of the main verb. This is how we describe the future time. Examples are I shall wait here, I will wait here. So future is used to describe, the uses of future is to refer to an intention, that is I will come for a dinner, that is the intention of the speaker. To refer to a negative intention, that is he won't listen to me, an example. Or to refer to predictable actions in events as the festival will come again next year, flowers will bloom in spring, people will complain, oil will float on water. All these are predictions which will happen in future, which we predict. So future, simple future is used for all these things. Having completed all these, the simple forms of all the three categories, we now turn to the progressive or the continuous forms of these categories. Uh, Now, there are two more uses of simple future, that is to express opinion about a future event. That is, I think they will leave the country, as you can see in this picture, the D part and the E part for the conditional, to refer to a real possibility with conditional clauses. If you drop the egg, it will break. So these are two more uses that we use simple future for. Now, having completed all this, now we turn to the progressive and the continuous form, starting with simple. The present continuous form. Now, as you can see, how the form which is used for uh, to indicate progressive is am oblique is oblique are plus ing form of the verb. Examples are she is speaking, I am speaking, they are speaking. These are all three examples of present progressive. Now, for present progressive is used for something which is to say, talk about something which is happening at the time of speaking. For instance, the example, he is writing a report at the moment. Or it is also used to refer to an activity which takes place over an extended period of time. That is, she's learning English this year. That doesn't mean she's learning at the time of speaking, but that is over an extended period of time. So we can say that she is learning English this year. Simple present can also be used to indicate the present as well as the future. So we have to provide a time adverbial. For instance, they are washing the dishes now. So something which is happening at the time, at right now. So we use the time adverbial now. Or for future, they are washing the dishes later. So this is again a time adverbial for something which is going to happen later. For this, there is a future activity which is anticipated in the future, for which we use the present progressive. Now, present progressive is in the C category. It is used to for a planned future action. Uh, he is coming to dinner next week. I am meeting my lawyer tomorrow to discuss the role of my property, to the sale of my property. To refer to the progression of an action, my headache is getting worse. So for all these things, we use present progressive form. Now talking about past progressive, just like we used for present progressive, we used for past progressive. The form we use is was, were plus ing form. Examples are he was waiting at the bus stop, I was waiting. They're all past progressive forms. Past progressive, we use past progressive for for an activity that was taking place in the past. Example is I was working last night. To refer to two simultaneous actions, that is, while his wife was talking on the phone, John was mowing the lawn. So two actions happening at the same time simultaneously, which are in progress simultaneously. For that, we can use past progressive tense. To refer to a continuous action that coincided with a definite action in the past. That is, when the war started. When the war started, we were living in the city. That is, some activity was in progress. That is, they were living in the city when something else happened. Uh, for a reported speech, a direct speech is she said, "I'm writing a book." Now, conversion, we use it has to be converted into past progressive. She said that she was writing a book. So these are the uses of past progressive. Now, when we talk about future continuous or future progressive, as you can see in this picture, the form of the verb used for future progressive is shall oblique will plus be plus ing verb. So this is the future progressive. This describes an activity which will be in progress at some time in future. Examples are what will you be doing on Saturday? I will be studying for my examinations. Or example is at this time tomorrow, I will be giving a lecture. Or at this time tomorrow, we will be crossing the Atlantic Ocean. So some sub activity which will be in progress at some point in future. For this, we use the future continuous tense. Uh, Now, having talked about all the progressive forms, we now come to the perfect forms of the simple present, this present perfect, present, past, and future. So, talking about present perfect, perfect, the form of the verb which indicates the perfect form is have, has plus the past participle, and the uses are that it is used to refer to an action that started in the past and continued up to the present moment. Like we have lived in this country for 20 years, and we are still living in this country. We have been neighbors since 1970. We are still neighbors. So this is what present perfect is used for, and present perfect is may also be used for some action which has just ended. That is, the doctor has just arrived. Or present perfect may also be used to indicate a past action which does not have a definite time. So this is what is known as indefinite past. Remember, for the simple past, we used a specific time. That is, he finished the experiment yesterday, or he went to America last year. For indefinite, you can say that I have been to America at some point in my life. I have been to America. Or examples are, that is, did you know that John has painted a portrait of Mary? And against this, we have, did you know that John painted this portrait of Mary? So, has painted a portrait of Mary, this is an indefinite. We have the indicators, we have the indefinite article. Did you know that John has painted a portrait of Mary? A is an indefinite article indicating an indefinite time, indefinite tense. Against which we say, did you know that John painted this portrait of Mary, which makes it definite. So this is the difference between present perfect and simple past when we talk about any past thing. So as you can see on this page, that is, I have mislaid my passport. So there is no adverbial as when we use the adverbial when we talk about simple past. That is, I mislaid my passport last week. So this is the definite time. But when he says that I have mislaid my passport, that is indefinite. We do not have any time indicator, time adverbial. But that does not mean that we don't have time adverbials for which to be used with perfect tenses. As you can see in this picture, that there are time adverbials which can be used with present perfect. That is, lately, recently, never, ever. All these time adverbials, they can be used with present perfect. Now talking about past perfect, the form that is used is had plus the past participle, which is used to indicate the past perfect. The use of past perfect is used to refer to the first of the two past. That is, we have two pasts over here. For instance, the plane had left when I reached the airport. So there are two pasts. The leaving of the plane occurred before the reaching at the platform, reaching at the airport. The plane had left when I reached the airport. So the reaching of the airport is later, but that is also in the past. From the time of the speaker mentions this, from that time, he goes to the past, which is and then he goes to further past. The plane had the earlier of the past. For the earlier of the past, we use the past perfect form. The plane had left when I reached the airport. Or the guard let us only after we had shown our passports. So the first past is they had shown our passports. Then the guard let them in, and then he is describing both of these actions. So the first past is all we use the perfect form to always describe the first of the two past actions. Uh, Likewise, past perfect is also used in direct indirect speech to when we convert the direct speech into reported speech or indirect speech. He said, "I have posted the letter." When we convert this into indirect speech, he said that he had posted the letter. So this is about past perfect. Now, when we talk about future perfect, we use future perfect to talk about something which will have been completed at a point of time in future. We first talk about the form that we have to use for future perfect. That is will, oblique, shall, have, plus the past participle. So this is the structure that we use for this tense. Now, uses are that is just as the present perfect is used to refer to action that is completed by now, and the past future perfect is used to refer to an action that will be completed by a certain time in future. So by Saturday, I will have left Singapore, or by the end of this year, he will have trained 600 horses. So this is future perfect, an activity which will be complete by a certain point of time in future. So I will have finished college by next June. Uh, she won't have read all the reports before the next morning. So this is future perfect. Now, having talked about the perfect forms, we are left with the present perfect forms, perfect progressive forms. Now, first in this category is the present perfect continuous. The form that is used to the form of the verb that is used to indicate this tense is has oblique have plus been, as you can see at the top, has oblique have plus been plus the ing verb. She has been playing the piano. Now, the uses of the present perfect continuous form are to refer to an action which began in the past and is still continuing. So this is what we use the present perfect continuous for. She has been lying on the bed all day, or we have been waiting for an hour. I have been playing piano since the morning. To refer to an action that began in the past and has just completed. He's all covered with the mud because he has been playing football. Now, sometimes there is a choice when we use the perfect or the perfect continuous, depending on the nature of the action. For instance, someone someone who sees someone tears in his or her eyes may say that why are you crying? The possible answers may be I have just cut my finger. This is a present perfect form. The other question may be, the other response may be that I have been cutting onions for the last 10 minutes. So you have tears in your eyes. The action is I have just cut my finger. Perfect form. So she is bleeding. There is blood coming out, and I have been cutting onions for the last 10 minutes. So there are tears in my eyes. Obviously, we cannot change. We cannot have I have been cutting my finger or I have cut onions. So the use of perfect form or the perfect progressive form sometimes also depends on the nature of the action. Now, talking about the past perfect progressive, uh, again, the form is had been plus ing verb. She had been waiting. I had been waiting. They had been waiting. And the past perfect tense is used to refer to action which began in the past and continued up to the time of another past actions. So past perfect, remember we had it referred to the first past. So likewise, the action continues from the first past to another past, the second past. Example is I had been studying for an hour when my friends came and disturbed me. So the first past is that is he had been studying. The second past event happened when his friends arrived and disturbed him. So there was some activity which was going on from a time of past till the friends arrived and disturbed him, and then the time of description is different. So there are two pasts. The first past is uh, from the time from which he has been studying, and it continued up to the time till his friends arrived. So this is where we use past perfect progressive. She had been waiting at the restaurant for some time before she realized that she was at the wrong place. So the realization came later. She had been waiting at the restaurant. So that is the first past. continued for some time, and then the realization that she was at the wrong place. The past perfect continuous, like the past perfect, it I had been the other examples are, I had been driving for an hour when the engine suddenly stopped. Again, we have two past. The first past, the activity continues from the first past to the second past when some other event happened. Uh, she finally she finally then we have the sentences. She finally came. He had been waiting in the corner for a long time. So he had been waiting is the first first past, and she came. That is the second event that happens. So this is the second past. So past perfect past perfect progressive is used for to refer to an activity which started in from the first part and continued up to the second past. Uh, then we talk about the future perfect continuous or future perfect progressive. The form that is used is shall oblique will have been plus ing verb. This is the form that is used for this tense. Uh, by June, she will have been working as a cashier for a year. Now, this is some activity which will have been in progress for 1 year by next June. So this is future perfect progressive. Uh, Something which will have been going on for a period. Another example is that John will have been training horses for 6 months by the end of this year. So some activity that will have been in progress for that period of time at a particular time, at a particular point. Against this, we have the future perfect. By the end of this year, John will have trained 600 horses. So we sometimes it depends on the nature of action. Training the horses, that is, you complete training the 600 horses. You will have trained 600 horses by the end of this year. But the training of the horses, John will have been training horses for 6 months by the end of this year, or John will have been training horses for maybe 20 years by the end of this year. But John will have trained 600 horses by the end of this year. So difference between future perfect and future progressive sometimes depending upon the nature of the action. So this was what was future perfect continuous. Uh, this is future perfect. That is, by June, she will have worked as a cashier for a year. So this is she will have finished an activity at a point of time in future. By December, I shall have learned French for a year. By June, they will have studied in a college for a year. All these are perfect forms, future perfect forms, and future perfect progressive forms. Uh, it all depends on where you focus completion of the action at a point of time in future, or an activity or an activity which will have been continuing for a certain time in future. That is this is the difference between future perfect and future perfect progressive. So we have done the simple present, simple past, simple future. We have done the progressive forms of all the three types, the perfect forms of all the three types, and the perfect progressive forms of all the three types. We have seen what are the structures of these verbs that indicate all these types, and what are the uses of all these tenses. So this completes our topic of tense. Thank you very much.